Hello everyone. So today we shall see a LeetCode problem which is valid anagram. So given two strings s and t, we have to return true if t is an anagram of s and false otherwise. That is if it is not an anagram. An anagram, what is actually an anagram is a word or phrase formed by rearranging the letters of a different word or phrase, typically by using all the original letters exactly only once. So, which means that it is a phrase that is formed by rearranging the letters of a different word or phrase. For example, there are two strings s and t. S is the word the string is given is anagram, and t is nagram. So now we see that the letters in the strings are both the same, typically using all the original letters only once. So we have to use all letters only once. So that's the thing over here. So for example, the first character in anagram is a, and we have to check if there is an a present in the string t. So there is an a present. So similarly, we have to check all the, for example, in anagram there are 7 letters. So we have to first make sure that s and t have the same size of strings. Okay, so has 7 letters and T also has 7 letters. So both have the same size, that is 7. So only then we can check that if it's an anagram or not. Supposing if S and T have different sizes, then we can obviously come to a conclusion that they are definitely not anagrams, because anagrams only contain equal sizes. So here the output is true because all the characters that is present in anagram is also present in the string T. Even though it is arranged in a different way, but all the characters are still present in T. So we say that we print true. Else we see here the size is the same of both S and T string, that is it's rat and car. However, we see that there is R here, A here, but T is not present in the string T, and C is also not present over here. So we just return false. So the methodology that we can follow, for example, we just take YouTube, and then we see this is string S and this one will be string T. So there are two strings, string S and string T. These will be the user inputs. So we see that U U T B Y O E. So all this is an anagram of this. So both are anagrams of each other technically. So we see what approach we're going to see. We're going to see is that we're going to store all our characters in S array in S string in an array. Okay, like we are going to store all the frequencies of the characters present in string S. So for example, y occurs only once over here, so we just store the frequency of y as 1, and similarly o u t u b e, all these letters or characters or alphabets, then we can just keep the frequency as 1 because it only occurs once inside the YouTube string. Next, what we are going to do is, after storing it inside an array, that is, we can just call it vector. Okay, it's a resizable array. So when we store everything inside the vector, we see that we store all the frequencies. Then we have to keep decrementing it while passing through the our string t. So this is our string t, this is our string s. So this will be a first traversal. The second traversal, the second for loop, we will go through this string, and then we shall, for every character encountered, we shall just decrement its frequency from that frequency array. So for example, there's u, we encounter u in the first character, so we will just decrement the value of u by 1. So yes, we have decremented the value of u by 1, and similarly in the second position also we have u. So we have to again decrement the frequency of u in the frequency array, and then we finally get 0. So there are no more u's. And then we are decrementing o, then we are decrementing y, then we are decrementing t, u, b, e similarly. So finally all the frequencies are just 0 of each and every character. Supposing um, yes. So supposing if that is, instead of UUTOBEY, we have A in the first place, and then this will be a string T, for example. Then we see that our traversal first checks for A character. Then it sees that the A character is not even present in the frequency array. So we see that our frequency A is present. The frequency of A will be 0 in the frequency array because it has not been encountered in the previous string, which is S. So the frequency in the frequency array A will be having the frequency 0 because it's not already present. It's not present in YouTube. So when it first encounters that A character, it will be 0. Then when we are decrementing A character, it becomes 0 minus 1, which becomes minus 1. So if any character that is inside the frequency array. If it has a negative value, that is if it is less than 0 and it's a negative value, then we return false. That's it. That means it's not an anagram of each other. So by following this, we can just code by using this logic, we can code. So let's just our first condition is to check whether the sizes of both the strings are equal or not. So that is the first condition. So by this we can just eliminate, if the sizes are not same, we don't need to check for the other conditions. We can just eliminate it in the first step itself. So this saves us much of our time. So we just return false. Suppose the s dot size of is not equal to t dot size of. That is the size of s and t strings are not equal. Then we are going to declare a vector and we'll have int type, and this array will be having 26 as its size, because why, sorry, it should be because there are 26 alphabets, so we're just going to give it a size 26, because for each letter we will just in the frequency array there's A to Z, so there are characters A to Z, um, small a to Z actually, or it could be anything, even capital A to Z, but then there are A to Z characters, so we are just going to make it an array. So what we are going to do here is, for we're going to enter into our first for loop. For int I is equal to 0, I is less than s dot size of, that is, it only goes uh, until until I is less than size. If it becomes more than size, then it stops its for loop. Then inside this for loop, what we're going to do is, we are just going to give s of s of I minus character A. This is the ASCII value of the character. It's just subtracting the ASCII value of the character, and whatever number we now, like integer number that we get, we will just store that character inside that position or inside that index precisely. So that what we're doing this, the reason why we're doing this is to determine the index, possibly the index, so that we that's why we're sorry, this has to be minus. So that's why we're subtracting the character A from that character. S of I, for example, it is A over here, so A minus A will be 0, so H of 0 plus plus, so the 0th index will be incremented to 1. Okay, so that's how it works. So we just keep incrementing for each character present in our S string. Then after everything is incremented and everything is done, we're just going to go into a second for loop. And inside the second for loop, it'll just be the same, except that so what would be the difference over here is that this one would be T, because we are traversing T string now and not S string, because we have already done for S string. So you have to go to T string right now. So over here, what you have to do is, we are going to give int x is equal to, we are going to assign variable x to something wherein we are going to decrement our h of s of I. This one won't be s of I because it will be t of I, because we are creating a new we are taking our t string, that's why it's t of I, and then we are going to subtract our a over here. After we subtract, we will just decrement it. So after decrementing it, we will check if Rx, after decrementing, we will check if our x is by any chance, if it is actually less than 0. Suppose our x is less than 0, then we can prove that it is the frequency of that character is a negative number, and if the frequency of a character is a negative number, that means it's not real. That means it's false. We are going to return false. Yes. So after this for loop gets over, if none of the conditions, if the false conditions are not even satisfying, that means everything is going smoothly, and thus we can just return true. So when we run it, we can see that yes, it has accepted, and we can just submit it. So the most important thing is this over here, that we have to increment it, and finally we are going to assign a variable x to the decrementing thing. So a t of I, what is t of I? That means it is a variable over here. So n it has the index 0. So t of I means we start from t of 0. So t of 0 is n, right? So we are just going to subtract our a value of here, and then we get the ASCII value, and then we are going to get a number over here inside the square brackets, and h of whatever number is there, we are going to decrement it. That means we are going to decrement the frequency of n present in the frequency array, and then we are going to initialize that number to the x variable, so that we can check whether that x is actually the number or the x is actually less than 0 or not. So thank you for watching. I hope you understood it.